Today, we have indicted a Winchester Middle School special ed teacher's aide for a count of rape, for child enticement, and for related child pornography activity and crimes. Today, we've indicted Christopher French, a 28-year-old McCall Middle School special assistant teacher aide. He worked within the special ed department, and he also had coaching duties in the soccer teams. What we're alleging is that Christopher French engaged in grooming young girls ages 13 to 16, girls who had attended McCall Middle School and their friends. What we're alleging Mr. French did was used internet sites, social networking sites like MySpace and Facebook, used instant messaging, and went into chat rooms to groom young girls for sexual activity. He lured them, he enticed them to engage in sexual activity, to exchange photographs of himself and them in various states of nudity. He will be charged with crimes that allege the harmful dissemination of material to children. What we're alleging is that during a span of years, while Mr. French was teaching at the McCall Middle School, he befriended many of these young girls, and through these social networking sites, he blurred the lines between being a trusted mentor and teacher, and then he crossed those lines, enticing them to engage in sexual activity with him. Today, he will answer these charges at some point at a later date. Today, he was not arraigned. He will be arraigned at a later time, but this investigation is ongoing. The investigation is ongoing into any and all information that we currently possess and any information that we can obtain. The Winchester Police Department is engaged with the Massachusetts State Police Computer Forensics Team in assessing the information and evidence that we have now, and the investigation is pending and ongoing. We ask that anybody having information concerning either these crimes or potential other crimes and other victims call the Winchester Police Department. That number is 781-729-1340. With me today is Detective Lieutenant Jim Pierce of the Winchester Police Department. He is leading this investigation. Again, these are troubling allegations concerning grooming of young girls that Christopher French taught while at the McCall Middle School. He groomed them, he blurred the lines, and then he crossed the lines into child enticement and child rape. Any questions?
Any reason to believe there's more victims that haven't come out yet?
The investigation is still pending. We are presently working with victims in these charged crimes. We're also working with others who knew and worked with Mr. French to determine whether or not there are other victims and other potentially chargeable crimes.
So what, because it said here he started working in early 2000? So
Mr. French started working in the Winchester school system in approximately 2000. He started working as a teacher in and out of the schools. He has been with the, he was a substitute teacher, and then he was at McCall Middle School. While at McCall Middle School, he not only handled being a special ed teacher's aide, but he also engaged in coaching soccer as well.
And so for parents that have their kids for the past 8 years in that school system, is there any message out to them? Or?
Well, anybody who had children who came in contact with Mr. French during this time period, we asked them if they have any information to reach out for us, either at the Middlesex County Child Abuse Unit or the Winchester Police Department. We're trying to assess and determine whether or not there are any other victims, and trying to assess what the entire nature and scope of Mr. French's activity might have been with children.
When did the other alleged victims come forward?
Well, we had information concerning Mr. French's activity on social networking sites like MySpace and like Facebook. Once we had initial allegations that enticement was going on, we then were able to contact certain young girls ages between 13 and 16 and ask them about activities that were going on not only online, but activity that had occurred in person between Mr. French and girls between the ages of 13 and 16 at the McCall Middle School.
So he's still free on bail?
He was arrested and charged at the district court. Those cases have been pending while he's been out on bail. Now that he's been indicted in Middlesex Superior Court, he will be arraigned at a later date.
Okay, why was his bail not revoked when he was caught lining the fields at the high school within proximity to kids that could well be under 16 years of age?
Well, the fact that he was in proximity to kids of the ages that we're alleging he abused was brought before the court's attention.